It's basically going to be quite similar to the one we had at one point in Prague, but the big difference is that for this one, I'm not doing it with the intent of publishing anything specifically. I will ask for permission right now that if you're okay with me publishing different stuff, I might publish the transcribe, maybe parts of the video, even though I don't think so. But probably if you do say something right now that could be really beneficial for the world to hear, or it would be really nice for me to share as testimonial, with your permission, I would like to share that transcription, and it can be done anonymously or with your name. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's like this. If at any moment you're like, I shared something maybe on this topic, Raluca, I don't want the name, let me know. Okay. So, and also like, I'm going to use my own judgment on this. And if I feel like something is quite personal, I'm not going to put your name, just because I personally don't do that anymore with my clients. I try to, I don't know, at this moment in my business, because I work on much more intimate stuff, it doesn't feel good to me to put names. So I don't put as much. All right.
Yes.
So basically the idea of the day is to kind of just like chat and to hear from you all the reflections of how much you've grown, and also for me to offer some reflections besides the ones I already offered in our virtual retreat, and to hear your feedback as well of the program, of the sisterhood, anything you want to share as points of improvement, as testimonial, anything like that, right? So I'm just going to ask some questions to make it easier, but that's the idea of today. And it's going to be around 30 to 40 minutes maximum. We're not going to stay too long. You also have time to go after and do your things.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So have you had a chance to reflect on like the last 6-7 months? It feels like forever.
Yeah.
Right?
It does though.
I mean, to a certain extent, you are not the same person you were 6 months ago.
Not at all. And it's so magical that we're having this on the Lionsgate. Like,
that's so true. I did not plan it. I did not think about it. I know of Lionsgate. I'm gonna use it today for different activations myself. I've already done that, but I don't know. I just didn't even think about it. So I'm so glad that it's coming today. It's a nice extra magical touch.
Yes, I love that. Well,
tell me, what's your like? What was the biggest aha moment when you reflected back at the last months? What was the thing that came through? Like 1, 2, 3 things that like really stood out as
I got two while I was reflecting about it. And I think the first one was really that, you already know that I started this coaching journey back in spring of 2020. And this kind of like, felt like my period of transformation coming, maybe not to a conclusion, but to, finalizing this period to start a new period. And so I think that during the past couple of years, I was able to work on different issues, but these last 6 months specifically, it was, of course, there was still a lot of healing to do, but a lot of the healing I had already worked through beforehand. So I feel that these 6 months really served me to understand the identity work and the emotional work, and really like going inwards and really understanding how our emotions, brain, nervous system works, which really served me as a like magical tool to really understand, who am I? Who are the past versions of me? Who is my authentic self? And how can I facilitate more of a dialogue between these different persons, so that, I could understand better who's who needs what, and that I wouldn't just feel triggered and just, so frustrated by thinking that, oh my God, I am not moving anywhere, or just so frustrated with myself when I get too emotional or when I don't understand what's going on. And simply, I think that through the work that we've done, it really allowed me to understand what's actually happening, take a step back, and then be like, okay, we're going to do this. And then the second biggest thing was all about specific tools. Like I remember during our VIP day, like they were specific things that we did together, like the hypnosis and the anchoring practice, which was like really, really cool. I myself want to get a tattoo specifically in this part.
It's so cool.
Yes. And I think that, these kind of like, it's like when you feel like a journey it's never over. As I said, like the journey, it's never over. But it's like, I felt like these last 6 months really served me to, empower me to
Mm.
know what to do in the moments when otherwise I would feel that I don't know what to do.
Oh my God, that's huge.
And then I guess like the third and last one was that, all these tools and all these like new tips, my toolbox, my first aid kit, was like I was able to build it while also having a space where I could share what was going on in my life, and where, I could just feel safe that even though I was learning still all the different tools, that while learning, I could still bring things that, maybe I just didn't want to process alone and I wanted to process in community.
Mm.
And just being able to do that, it's always nice to have community with whom to share. So I felt that I was like learning tools, closing up, learning how to do it on my own while sharing with people and not having, just to jump and, do it yourself.
Mm. That's so cool. I love that. Wow, you said so many beautiful things there. I'm processing everything. Honestly, for me, everything that you said sounds perfect, and I'm so 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 glad to hear that. And I, like always, slightly overwhelmed when I hear my clients having like big breakthroughs, because my brain is like completely like, what? While my soul understand this, is that duality I'm also holding in my body, is, human parts goes like, please,
Yeah.
while the soul goes like, yeah, yes. So I love what you're saying. I feel like what the coolest thing that you said there, and honestly, it's probably not the coolest, but it's the one that kind of comes forward now, and it's probably because of my current circumstances. That's the one that for some reason wants to be picked up on. The part where you said that you understood yourself more, and that you understood why you were doing, or some, why you were feeling certain stuff, or why you were doing certain stuff. And also you had the capacity now to, you have the capacity now to take a step back and to decide what's the actual aligned action in accordance to your intuition, accordance to your higher self, in accordance to your authentic self, right? And I think that honestly, that's the whole purpose, in my opinion, in life. If we can find that, and then if we can grab onto it and continuously evolve with it, because obviously we evolve and sometimes it changes and whatever. But if we can have that power 99% of the time, I think life becomes much, much, much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to be honest, it was a little bit scary because sometimes, I feel that since I have been doing these always with support for like the past 2.5 years, like
Mhm.
nonstop.
Mhm.
So there was a point where you kind of like just get used to it. And I was like, well, like how would I handle myself
Without
uh,
support.
without support? And like, a part of me was really afraid that maybe it doesn't work. It doesn't work without the support, right? Or maybe I have got like too in a comfy sport and a spot. And of course, it's always nice to get the support. Like I definitely see it's, you don't have to do all the stuff alone. It's nicer when you just have someone you do it faster. But
Yeah.
I also needed to get these self-assurance that, I still get to do the things myself, and it has been working like pretty nicely now. Now when I feel frustrated or when I feel that I've hit, a wall, instead of blaming myself, I just, allow myself to express and kind of like, recognize and yeah, and honor the emotions and the feelings that I'm having and allow myself to feel like that and to say it out loud. And I feel that the moment I allow myself to do that, I am able to move on. And it's like, okay, great. I wasn't feeling like great for 2 hours and I complained about how I was not feeling great. And now I move on.
Cool.
Um,
So did the mistress mind help you to understand your patterns better?
yes. I think I really learned that just as I mentioned, like how to move from the moments of frustration like forward, and what are the different tools that I could use. And
Sorry.
I think that the best part was like the bus, like the bus analogy. That was like the one of the best things that I learned, and that serves me like really, really well. And I don't know, today I just had like a very, very big breakthrough, because I was feeling so frustrated in the afternoon, actually in the lunchtime, because I went to the university, and I was feeling so great in the university, and it just happened that I connected to the fact that it's not feeling aligned to me to go back to Mexico. Like, not right now. It feels like a lot of financial pressure and things that I don't want to feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt that I also don't want to waitress, that I don't mind waitressing, but that I keep doing it because there's just expenses coming like from every single side. And
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that, in order to keep up with all these expenses, I just need to do more. Like, I need to keep this cash coming. And, while otherwise, I feel like that's it was precisely today. I felt that if in any other day, I would have just been like in a freeze mode, or just like complete meltdown. And now it's like, no, like, you do have control of your life. Let's talk things through. Let's decide on stuff, and let's first acknowledge it. And then let's, see what is the next move. So not, just like drowning in a glass of water.
Oh, that's really cool. So let me see, because there was something I wanted to ask you, but I just missed it. Well, first of all, let me just grab a tissue because my nose is bothering me a bit. I think that's what's distracting me. So give me a second. So, okay, you know how to handle yourself better, you know how to get yourself out of those moments of, stress, trauma response, fear, like we all have, right? And I'm glad to hear that the boss metaphor helped you, right? Like the one with like understanding more how to to understand your workspace and your boss and the dynamics of the relationship, right? And when it comes to mistress mind and like these past 6 months, what was your favorite part when it comes to like being in the experience, and also like what did really help you to have this evolution in embodiment, embodying your authentic self and understanding yourself and developing more trust within yourself? Actually, before I ask you that, I want to ask you this direct question. Do you feel like you trust yourself more and your intuition?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Great. I'm happy. I mean, obviously I knew it, but I wanted to really just kind of bring that forward because I've been seeing.
It's scary though. It's
Of
scary.
course it's scary, right? Because the intuition speaks in so illogical terms. Like the intuition is never logical. It never gives you a million reasons why you should do it. It doesn't give you the whole business plan. It just tells you do this because you're supposed to. And because, especially for you as a splenic, is like just because it's healthy, it's good. And it's like, do you feel like you know also better the difference between your ego now and your intuition? I know we did a lot of work on like the airplane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was just coming to like a mature, like a zone of maturity. I don't know. I feel like things have changed so much within the last like month.
You have changed so
And
much, yes, for sure, because things are just like falling through and they're encoding. So it's normal that you just have like a continuous transformation.
yeah, so no, 100%, 100%. Like, I think before I was just so in a trauma response that I couldn't even listen the intuition. Like I
Mm,
listen it like really, really low. Now I listen it with more ease.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
and I I think that I walk at my own pace, but I know that's possible, and I know that it's okay to have the fear. Like, I don't let the fear hold me back,
Yeah.
but I can consciously choose to I know it's there, And I know I am afraid, so I am not yet going there, but I know that that's the way to go.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so what was the most supportive, soothing, safe part of the mistress mind? So like what was the element of the mistress mind in our coaching that allowed you to feel safe in this journey?
Well, I think it was just knowing that there was like the support there. I think that, you know, the amount of support that I required as we progressed in the mistress mind was like becoming less and less. I remember like in the beginning, there was even a day when I was having, especially because also of my personal like life situation, there was this one day when I was like, you know, fully on breakdown, and I was like live on the Facebook group, and you came and you kind of like also coached me through when I was there. It was really, really cool. And I mean, it was really cool that I got the support. And there were like few times when I, you know, posted like bigger posts that didn't really relate it to something specific. So just knowing, for me as a person, just knowing that I have a safe space where I can express myself, because sometimes you're scared to be judged. Like, I mean, it's not the same expressing yourself in this safe space where maybe I will come and talk something about my job, of how, you know, a part of me truly feels,
Yeah,
which if I would express
one.
externally,
Yeah.
they would be like, excuse me, so you are what type of professional?
Yeah.
So having this safe space where you can express yourself, and you don't have to worry that someone will, you know, make an opinion or make a judgment, that was
No
so
judgment,
important for
yeah.
me. And then, you know, obviously the more my life came into a balance, the more everything started to, you know, come into place, the less support I needed. But for me, it was like the perfect journey, because I knew that there was a space. And regardless of the space, I also knew that there was, you know, these weekly check-ins, well, almost type of weekly calls with the week in the week break. But
Yeah,
so
they
I
always had something to be held into.
Yes, yes. And also, I didn't like, I think that in this process, like in my specific process, there is also this part where, you know, you want to feel accountable, and you don't want to just, you know, fully ignore that. Okay, personal development and self mastery, let's just ignore that and go back to old habits. I think that even though I was feeling like safer, these like constant weekly check ins really served me as a way that if I have, you know, fall out of path, it was my, you know, come back and come back and come back.
Oh, that's cool. I'm happy to hear that. So when it comes to, you know, like I use a lot this tagline because it was the one that made the most sense to me about mastering your body, mind, soul. And I'm curious now, after we've done all this work together, specifically in the mistress mind, when it comes to mastering your body, your mind, your soul, do you feel like you have evolved on that topic? I'm not asking in any way, like, do you feel like you're now an ultimate master and never ever have to learn again? Because I don't believe in that. But I'm asking, like, for the 6 months, do you feel like you understand your body better now and you can actually work with it and control it better? Do you feel like you understand your mind better and you can, like, again, quote unquote, control it better? And the same thing about your soul, your intuition. Do you feel like you're more connected to these three elements of you and you can actually honor them better in attracting what you want and like manifesting in your own way?
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah. What's the thing that came up for you the most? I know the body thing was quite big for you because you like the nervous system part and like the emotional part, but is there anything else you want to share about those three elements that you feel like it's cool to share with me about the journey, about from the moment we started until now, and the progress you've been having in yeah,
Well, I
understanding
think
better?
that maybe I had kind of like a benefit there because I started working with you like quite a while ago. So I think that maybe if I were, you know, a first time client, maybe you would notice certain patterns. They would come as a, oh my God, I have this. But since our work really comes from already over a year ago,
Yeah.
then maybe like me, like I'm sure that those were like aha moments, but I kind of like trusted that, you know my background, you know my story, and you were able to identify those things that maybe I didn't pay that much attention to that. I
Mm,
was, I just let myself be guided.
okay. That's cool to know. Yeah. So like, from my side, I definitely have seen you. I think that to offer you some reflections back, I already offered some in the virtual retreat, but I feel called to share with you some here as well. So if I look back at your journey, like as a coach, I used to do in the past much more quantifiable KPIs, also because my work used to be more quantifiable, right? Like how do you quantify trust? How do you quantify happiness and joy, intuition? You can play about how you're faster in making decisions, stuff like that, but it's hard to quantify those feelings, right? So I don't look so much as like what you told me in day one you wanted to manifest it now, because, and again, like professionally, you've grown a lot, you've manifested some cool stuff, you've had cool experiences, and like, traveling and friends and, money coming in, whatever, sure. And I'm very happy for you for those things generally. And I also know those are just like stuff that you can get always more of, like you're always going to go more. I know you've got, for me as a coach, as a friend, what's really important is that I've heard you speak about how you got even more clarity where you want to go. I've seen you breaking the pattern of, and I know it has been a really hard one for you, of prioritizing what feels good versus like being, always stretching multiple directions, uh, prioritizing, really embodying your human design and allowing yourself more rest. And I know that something has been very, very, very hard for you to like, take a chill pill and just like rest and not do everything all the time. Trusting that you get to be financially supported, even though you don't do all the things, which I think it's a pattern that you are still very much unfolding. And to be very honest with you, I think based on how I know you already for almost 2 years, actually it's 2 years now in August. It's two
It
years.
is. It is. Oh my God.
We should look at the date, but I feel like it was around beginning of August that we
Yes, that
started.
we started our first
It's
Sunday day. Yes, 2 years. Oh my God.
very much 2 years. And I honestly think that that is one of your core patterns and core wounds around feeling like you have to control everything and feeling like you have to do everything, and enough is never enough, to prove your worth, to prove that you're abundant, to feel secure. And I think it's not something that it will ever fully disappear from your life. I feel like it's like core wounds and core patterns tend to stay there in the background, but we can always just like take another layer and peel it off. And it's almost like every time you're gonna up level, you're going to have a kind of pattern coming up that wants to like stretch you in all the ways and do all the things. And I think like what I've seen in you is that you've already mastered that pattern more. Like you've been able to see, okay, do I really want to do this? You've been really committed and devoted to spending more time alone and spending more time with your thoughts, trusting your intuition, trusting that you don't need always the support or validation or stuff like that. Even things like you telling me that, like you don't actually want to do waitressing all the time. Stuff like this, I feel like they have been a long journey for you to fully accept. And again, I generally believe it's something that you're just going to keep on growing, and it's going to keep on, just like for me, I have a fear of being rejected and being misunderstood. I really don't think I will ever reach a level in my life where I will never, where that thing, that idea of being misunderstood, rejected will be like a foreign thing. I don't think so. I don't think for you, you will ever reach a moment where the idea of like doing all the things and all the ideas you're passionate and interested in, that multi-passionate energy that you have, I don't think it will ever become like a stranger thing. I think it will always be present somehow. But I think you've been doing a much better job at prioritizing, taking a step back. And I definitely have been seeing yourself trusting yourself more versus like, jumping to outsourcing trust. Even to me as a coach, like I've been seeing you grow as a client, which I really, really like, because we reached a level where I can feel you in your power when I coach you. So I can feel that you're not going to outsource your power to me, and whatever I say it's going to be yes or no because I said it, but it's actually you're going to very much filter it and decide it through your own lenses. I'm not saying you were ever just like the kind of person that just said yes because to, but I do feel that you have grown your power to a level where you are owning more your truth and your opinion and you standing by it than in the past. So I think that's really, really, really powerful. I think that's going to give you a lot of like freedom, and it's going to allow you to set boundaries and just like be really you, right? Like just stand by what you think and what you want versus like whoever says something else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like have been so many like patterns that I've been seeing like growing. I've definitely seen you doing much better when it comes to not judging yourself about your emotions, not making it mean anything, and allowing yourself to have a human experience without making it mean anything about your growth, your ability. Um, and I feel intuitively that now you're in a process where you're also going to more, I think you're already there probably, actually. If I tap into your energy, it feels like you're there, where you're now in a process where you start to enjoy the roller coaster of life versus like kind of being terrified by it. And I enjoying just the good parts. I feel like you're getting better at just enjoying all parts of life, just because they're part of life. And that's a cool thing versus being upset when things are not going so well and being happy only if things are going well.
I
I don't
think
know.
that for me, something like really cool was just it happened recently. I'm not sure if we talk about this in the Mistress Mind or not, but it was just after I kind of like finished my trial period and I got like, more into the work. Like, there was a point where I was like, okay, and what next? And I was like immediately thinking that, it's the moment I got the amount of money and the position that I wanted, I was already, okay, what's next?
Mhm.
And then I realized that I guess like the lesson from there, it's really like when you reach the place that you wanted to reach, like that's it. I mean, you celebrate it if you want for a while, but that's it. Like you're there. So if then I was like, well, I would love 5K months. Like great. And once I have them, then what? I will want the next thing. So
Yeah.
I thought that, if I always want the next thing, then why not just, make the plans of what are all the things that I want next?
Mhm.
And then just actually have like a fun, like
Right.
getting to those things instead of, putting so much pressure and then getting to that level and being like, not enough. And then again, and then like, not enough.
Yeah.
And there was like a lot
Good,
of
good
pressure that,
realization.
yes.
And I remember when we shared that, when we had that coaching on in the group, it was a group coaching call when we talked about that. And we were having a conversation about the plateau. Like you're now in a plateau mode where you just want to enjoy and dance around. Like, if you'll be in mountains and you would have to like climb the next hike, and now you're just like running around the fields with like wildflowers and just hearing the birds, because it gets to be good. And then when you start hiking and it gets to feel good hiking again. But yeah, like I feel like that's also a huge pattern for you that you very successfully broke. And I really, really have faith in you that you're going to get yourself back to it, because I'm sure the pattern will come back again. The
Yes.
chase, the chase for next and more. And because it's that thing, it's never enough, right? Like we talked about, it's a core wound of yours. We healed it, right? But it's a scar. And I don't believe in healing those things and never ever coming back again. I just don't believe in that. I don't think that's how it works. I think you have to understand them, and then they become, I think you, as humans, we are who we are because of the mixture of things, including our core ones. Like it's not like despite of our core ones it's who we are. No, it's because of everything together. It's what makes us us. So for you, I feel like you've done such a good job at not chasing and then actually enjoying life and slowing down. I've been seeing that like in the last months, like I think the month of May and June and July, you've really like kind of chilled a bit and enjoyed more, and just like saw these manifestations coming through in your life with the beautiful citizenship and all the things, but more from a perspective of like just enjoying life versus like chasing the next thing. And also, I think
Yeah.
it's a cool thing for you to remember that that's actually your way of manifestation as well, where you get to have goals, but as long as you enjoy your way there, and you take the aligned action, it feels good, you get to manifest them faster and you get to enjoy them much more, much more. And you get to enjoy life in
Absolutely.
spite of the things, right?
Today when I was, and I think it's like part of, the building the trust process, because today when I was talking with my boyfriend, I was just sharing all the plans that I'm like, I feel like I don't want to be a waitress anymore. And then we were talking about it, like I don't feel ready to quit like today. But I said like, yeah, I think that's happening. And then he said like, well, you can also just ask a study leave. And immediately there was like a straight response like, no, I'm not gonna ask a study leave. It has to be, door closed.
Yes.
If later on I want to feel like opening it again, then I will open, but not leaving loose ends anymore. It's no, doors closed. If we open them in 2-3 years from now, we'll see. But no, for now it's closed, not in study leave.
And I love that because I know that the dynamics you've been having with your waitressing job has been a very complicated and complex one. I know that last year you did take a study leave, right? Or something like that from
Mhm.
it. And it was that moment where like we talked about actually that a part of you wanted to say goodbye last year already, right? So it's part of that trust where you get to use your anchor, you get to tap in yourself and generally be honest, what do I really want? And then act upon it, knowing that you can always change your mind later if you really wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I feel like for me, I knew that I wanted to be in the mistress mind, but I wasn't really. I think that in January there was so many things in my mind that I really didn't know. Like, I think that the mistress mind serves each person depending kind of like of where they are.
Yeah.
And for me, it was kind of like almost like the perfect, really, really comfy offboarding with a really, really big, like, like a VIP offboarding experience. And like, getting all the, love and tools and everything to be like, okay, enjoy your plateau.
It's like we equipped you with everything so you can go into your next level, which I'm sure at one point you're going to want support again, because I know how you are and you're going to grow, but I it's cool that you get to decide that from even a deeper level of trust, right? So I love that. Okay, so on the mistress mind level, is there any feedback you would like to give me when it comes to like what were your most favorite parts besides what you mentioned already? um Anything and everything, I would love to hear. What was your favorite part about the mistress mind? Would you recommend it to somebody? If yes, why? And what, yeah, like why would you recommend it, any things that you want to offer me feedback? Also, of course, any feedback that you're like, oh, I would have liked more of these, or I would have liked these differently. I would really appreciate.
um well, I mean, the great things were many.
Make me
I
a
guess
list.
I think that the only thing that what started happening to me, I don't know if it's something that happens to everyone, um and something like it's one of the things that I love the most out of your containers. And then obviously as I progress, but it's not about the container, it's about what I felt I needed. It started to change the feeling. So before, like I was really in a point where I wanted all of the support, and I wanted, like when, like I remember like before we used to do like more coaching, and when there was a point where it was like we will have, I think that my first 5 months with you was like with the full, like the every week we had a call or something, and then we changed it, I don't remember. But then
Yeah.
there was a change when you understood more of your manifestor energy, that you wanted to have the 1 week off.
Yeah.
And I remember that at the time I was like, no, like, where's my weekly support? And I just wanted, like all of the days, like at all time. And then funny enough, like at the beginning of the mistress mind, the more we put things to it, the more I enjoyed it. And then there was a point where I felt called, or the need to have more, just time to not do anything, to not have to be anywhere at any point. So, but that's like the only kind of like not nice, if you would want to call it not nice, but it's actually not nice. It's because of the way in which I was evolving, that I feel like maybe a person that really wants the constant support, I think it would be so great. But then of course, if there's the person that's maybe like on another level and doesn't want to be there on a weekly basis, then maybe the more freedom of feeling that you are not missing out. Like for me, it's like just being a part of a container but not joining the sessions felt like something I didn't want to do.
Okay, but why that? Why is that a thing actually?
Well, because I don't know, like when I join, is specifically coaching containers. Like if it's like an online course, for example, I just got the online course like 3 months ago from Christina. It's about building an online course. And I know that I just want the curriculum. So she has had Q&As and whatever, and I don't go, and that's fine because I want the curriculum. But because the Mistress Mind, I felt it was more of a container. Like I felt that, I'm going to miss something out if I am not in the sessions. But then there was a point where it started kind of like transforming, in which I, since I do have a 9 to 5, I started being like, okay, so this Friday it's off for this, and this Tuesday it's off for this. And when I start cutting like, 1 or 2 days a week from my free evenings, and then I cut the weekends for waitressing job, then there was a point where I started to feel frustrated because I was like, I just have 2 free evenings, and one is for my boyfriend, the other's for my friends. And now I have like 0 or 1 evening to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a really cool reflection, and it's just going giving permission to just remind the clients, and something that I wish I would have reminded you, that the sessions and now the course, which will be added at one point, are not mandatory in any way. And, I think it's something that I will have myself also as a coach to just let my clients trust that, I mean, if you do not feel that you need this month to come to the group coaching calls, and don't, you have one call with me a month, and yeah, that's a good reflection. Obviously, I wish you would have told me, so I would have told you already that back then, that you don't have to show every time.
I think that's more like my thing, right? Like I feel like I still like
no, right? And I think for me, I mean, I don't quite care in a way everybody can, and it's because it's not how do I explain this? I think it's normal to go through changes and for like periods, and I've had myself those moments. So I think that's a really cool feedback, and thank you for offering it to me. And it's really not something that, oh, it's just me. I think it's something that every single person can go through, especially in coaching containers, especially because I expect people to trust themselves more and more. That's the whole point of my work. So if at any moment, some months feel like, they're busy with life, for example, now in summer, I have clients that are like very busy with summer activities. And I'm like, it's fine. I want to also, as a coach, to learn to communicate more the fact that you have the support there if you want it, but you don't.
I think it's like, for me, I mean, the reason I was sharing all this was because you asked me like,
yeah, of course,
for which kind of person do I think this would be ideal? And I mean, the Mistress Mind, as it's currently, I think that for a person who really wants, like all of the full support, I think it's so beautiful because you anyways always have the Facebook group, and you have the, very constant, if it's not the workshop, it's the, thingy for the higher self, which is like really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think that for these persons would be perfect. And I think that for the people that want less support, I think it's just great if you just like maybe remind them. I think that for me, it was like, I feel that I am not always able, like, after 2 years of investing in high level containers, I don't see myself doing that later because most of those containers have been paid out of debt, like I mean credit. So I don't feel comfortable getting more credit. So I feel like for me, since almost all of my containers were paid on loans, then for me it was like I have this specific time frame where I am able to actually pay and get the support. And if I'm busy with life and I am not taking, working on what I'm supposed to work in the container that I invested, like for example, I'm not sure would I want to, then
Yeah,
invest
I felt like you were
years
missing out.
later.
Like you almost felt like a
Yes.
deadline for you. Yeah, it makes sense. No, it makes sense. Why you felt like that, which I completely respect, and I witness you in that. And I also, as a coach, remind you that it doesn't have to be true in the future, because you mentioned like
Yes.
necessarily wouldn't. You never know where you're gonna go. And the thing is that if you desire to have the kind of financial abundance where investing is not something that feels like it was feeling now, a bit pressured on a time, like I have to make the most out of it, you can, like you don't put
Yes, absolutely.
don't put pressure on yourself for the future, because you never know. But yeah, no,
Of
thanks for that
course.
reflection. But tell me, what was your what were the things that were, I don't know, maybe different about Mistress Mind and stuff that you really liked, that stood out for you?
I think the flexibility of the program. I mean, I really like how it started with a specific structure and then it kind of like went evolving. I love the fact that in the beginning, where it was just Tamara and me, like the group coaching calls, it wouldn't be just as, okay, it's 10 minutes each. And after 20 minutes, bye bye.
Mhm.
So we were able to have more and then adapt as Valerie joined. And I really like that, you were able to, really like feel on the things, for example, for a retreat that you asked, like, okay, what do you girls feel like doing? I think maybe some people will appreciate, maybe some will not. I
I don't care.
personally
I care about
appreciate
your opinion. I care about what you liked.
it.
What others can say whatever. So just tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. That's what
Yeah, well, what I like was that there were certain workshops that you had something in mind, but there were also like a lot where you were just like open to, see what's the vibe of the moment. And I really like the flexibility of, you saw what could benefit the group as such. And
Mhm.
then you started adding those things like the last Friday of the month to connect with the higher self. Like that was not part of the program as far as I know.
No.
And so how, you allow your container to be in constant evolution. So I really like that. I like the flexibility and the adapting to what the container,
Okay.
like the people you have there.
I like that. Okay, one last question. When it comes to my coaching specifically, what do you like most about my coaching? And I'm not asking for compliments here. I'm asking about, because you've had so many type of coaches, you've experienced a lot of coaching already. I'm curious if you'll be like, hey, look, I recommend Raluca because she does this differently, or because she is this type of coach. Or I'm curious, how would you say it in your own words? Again, not fishing for compliments, but generally asking you, what is different in my coaching from any other experiences you've had or any other knowledge you have?
Well, first of all, your coaching has been changing.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm asking about the current coaching. Like what
like,
it's a whole different person. So don't even give me feedback about 1 year
I'm
ago.
like, well,
Literally, I'm asking literally the mistress mind and the last 6 months, which already has evolved and changed. So if it's easier for you, you can even focus on the last, I don't know, 3 to 4 months, if 6 months is too much, because it's absolutely true. I have changed a lot, and there's no need to even like put your mind to remember things from like more than 7 months ago, because I'm at all that person. Like it's not.
yeah, I think that you're able to connect with people in an easier way, or to connect to their energy, and I really appreciate it. Like I think that I think the thing that I like the most about your coaching is that you trust offering your reflections. Like there are certain points where I just need to hear what you have to say.
Mhm.
And it's been great that you don't necessarily hold back in those specific moments, but also that, you just share with it. I remember there were a couple times that you shared that I'm just going to interrupt you at this moment. And I feel like, your higher self, it's not talking. And like, those like moments of interruption, which it's like, okay, I heard all this, but no. So I think just the way that you connect and the way in which you are able to offer those reflections without thinking, like this is more like a reflection of me that sometimes I feel myself I have not necessarily shared how I really think, because I'm like, what if the other person's gonna feel bad, or what if they are gonna judge? And I feel that's something that I don't see in you, and that when you have applied that to me, I'm like, oh, that's great that she did it. And so like that energetic connection, direct reflection offering.
Okay.
I
So let me
think
see if I can put that into words myself, because I'm gonna want to share this for sure. But let me see if I can. It's like how would I describe it? That I am able to tap into somebody's energy and just see them in their authentic self and hold them to that standard. Is that the word?
yeah, hold them, or yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not asking for like if I'm correct to say, but I'm just like, did I catch what you're saying correctly? Did I transcribe it in the right words? Yeah. Well, that's cool. Because it's something I've actually wanted to do more and more, and I've been allowing myself to trust my higher self wanted me to coach people in their higher selves energy, which is quite different, because that means you're gonna have to not you're gonna have to coach people in their lower moments, but not actually allow them to like wobble too much in there, basically. So
yeah, I think it's definitely scary. I think that I appreciated this kind of coaching because you were my coaching before, and because I had already worked a lot of my trauma. But I definitely like, connecting and getting coached through higher self, it's not always the easiest.
no, it's not going to be for everybody. But the thing is that I think that's how you get the highest
Yeah.
results, and also I like to believe that I'm very soft enough, and because I tap in people's energy, I will use that kind of approach only when it feels safe for the other person on the other side.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think I will use it with everybody every time, just because sometimes people just need to be heard and they have to stay in their feelings and all that shit. Yeah. Anything else you want to share about your progress, about our progress, the coaching container? Any other feedback? Any other questions? Last thoughts?
No, I'm really happy with the 6 months that we got to spend together, and then wrapping it up with the retreat, and now with the thing in the Lionsgate. I think that it has like this Saturn return has been like, whoa, and it's just been a month since
Yes.
I turned 28. So it's crazy, and I'm just really grateful that you got into Sabrina's course, because otherwise I wouldn't have found you. And that you were so talkative, because if you wouldn't have been talkative, I wouldn't have found you either. So yeah, like thank you for having me in these 6 months. And I didn't got just that coach, I also got a friend.
Whatever.
So yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything. If you want to share anything else, feel free to send me. I will probably just pick up different things you said today and put them out there. I still have a testimonial I have not used. I still have the things you send me. It's something that it's something that I will sit with it, but also permission slip that if there's any other things you want to say about my coaching or our work together, feel free to send me whenever you want. I'll use them as they are. They can be as long or as short as they want to be. No problem. I
Sure.
might send you a form to fill in. I haven't decided. I wanted initially, but now I'm having my intuition a bit not sure on that. So yeah, for me, it's like this. If you trust yourself more and if you feel like you are more in control of your life after 6 months together, and obviously I'm talking about 6 months because I know it was something we talked about in December, and I know you have already a huge growth before, but it's just no longer feels like the same life for me. So yes, in these 6 months, I feel like we got you to even a new level of trust. So you're always welcome in my containers. You're always welcome in my world whenever you feel like it in any way. And as a friend, I'm always there. So yeah, thank you for sharing all these reflections. Thank
Thank you,
you.
my love. It was such a beautiful meeting.
Thank you. I love you. Go and enjoy your day. Set some intentions for Lions Gate. And I love you. I'll talk
I
to
love
you
you.
in Instagram, okay?
Definitely. Bye.